What's up, y'all? Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. I don't plan to be before you guys long, but I wanted to drop this word. Blessings to you, Tara Edmondson. Blessings to you, man. I pray that you guys have had a spectacular Saturday. I pray that it's been a Saturday of you dreaming big, believing God for bigger and bigger in 2022. We're going to wait and let the room fill up just a little bit. But our declaration is going to be separated for a reason. Separated for a reason. Separated for a reason. I think that to a certain degree, everyone that, chooses God and goes on their own personal journey of learning how to trust God more and more. I believe that everyone, to a certain degree, has experienced God separating you from people. I'm going to say that again. I truly believe that every single person that is on their faith walk to whatever degree, right, has experienced, God separating you from someone that you may love, whether, it be family, whether it be a child, whatever the case, may be. Everyone to a certain degree in life has experienced having to be separated. And I think a lot of times when we go through the phases of isolation in our processes with God, a lot of times we have a lot of regrets. Anybody ever had regrets about being separated? It's like there are just some relationships with people, primarily with family, right? Where when God separates you, like to a certain degree, you begin to miss those family members. Give me a one if this makes sense. Hey, Stephanie, I'm going to repeat the question. Everyone on their faith walk at some point has gone through that phase where God has separated you from people that you really, really love. And a part of, being separated, it comes with those moments where you really want to be around, that particular person, those family members. You really want to be around them, right? And a lot of times you don't even understand like why God has you separate, but I heard the Lord today as I was coming back home from my mom's party. He said, especially after the turn of events of everything that happened, the Lord said, you were separated for a reason. Grieve no more. I'm going to say that again. You are separated for a reason. Grieve no more. And a lot of times, what a lot of people don't understand is that there are certain people that for the sake of your faith, for the sake of your own journey with God, for the sake of your salvation, God has no choice but to separate you from. Because honestly, if we can be real, if God allowed us to remain connected to your connections matter. But if he allowed you to remain connected to some of the people that he's had you separate and have to love from afar, like, let's be real, your faith would be affected, right? The fear that they have, the doubt that they have, it would seep over, into your boat and it would sink your boat. So, today was one of those days where, I was excited. I I'll say that I have battled with this a lot. God separating the isolation and really wanting a relationship with my family and just really desiring that, right? And sometimes not understanding, like, God, why do you have me separate? Why the distance? You name it, right? It weighs heavily on my mind, and I'm being very transparent from time to time. Even though they've done what they've done to me in the past, it just weighs heavily on me that we're not as close as I would want us to be, right? So today I go to my sister's house, and at first, I didn't really think anything of it. It was just, my mom, my sister, my mom's friend that was there. I didn't think anything of it. It was a very calm environment. And so we're just, sitting there, and as time went on and on and on, I began to notice how things got demonic. And at the point where things got demonic, it was when my aunt that raised me walked in. I was so very happy to see her, so very excited. She came bearing gifts. She had brought my mom a gift and ended up giving me my mother's gift. Don't ask me why she did it. Don't ask me why. That's just how they operate. She said, I'm gonna give this to you. And so, it was very, very, because I haven't seen my aunt. in a while. I have not seen her probably in over a year. And so it was very, very, I appreciated seeing her. But as I'm sitting there, I began to notice, my sister. It started with my sister and then my mom. And then it got to the point where the enemy was just using both of them. And it was just like, I can't get out of here fast enough. I understand that I went for my mom, but really why I went was because God knew that I needed to lay eyes on my aunt, which I was very grateful for. But as I'm sitting there, I began to notice that it's like my sister was in competition with me, trying to make me feel left out, talking about her birthday party last year. And I didn't even know she had a party for her birthday and how she had a cake. And it was just why she was talking about that, y'all. I don't know. But I began to notice that, I'm feeling a certain type of way. It was like she had a point to prove that she feels like she's closer to my aunt than I am. It was very much so jealousy, but it was hidden, in a very nice way. I was just being myself. And that was that. I'm about to get to the revelation. And then, me and my aunt were just talking, and it was really good to catch up and just laugh. And she has not changed. At all. 70 something years old, and she is still active. She gonna do what she want to do when she want to do it. And my aunt said something to my mother. My mother was the controlling started. I was in my phone looking at something in my phone. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "In my phone." And so my aunt made the comment about it being my mother wanting it to be a dictatorship. And what my mom said really blew me. Like it blew me like in a surprise type of way, because it was so demonic and it was so clear that it was demonic. And it's like the enemy said through her, "Yeah, I try to be a dictator when I'm able to." So I'm noticing all these things around me. I got my sister acting the way that she's acting. I got my mom, the enemy using my mom, and you can see it seeping out. And I'm just literally in my own zone. But I was aware also that so much has happened that I don't know about, and honestly I don't care to know about. And as I was sitting there, the Lord flashed before my eyes like my younger years. He flashed before my eyes like my aunt from New York. And I don't talk about my aunt from New York a lot because she's not down here a lot. She comes every blue moon, and I'm gonna just be real about that. She literally comes every blue moon. And so he flashed before my eyes like how people hated how her brothers and sisters, they hated her. And it wasn't because of like her being a bad person. It wasn't because of anything else, but it was jealousy. And so growing up, her brothers and sisters kind of raised their kids to kind of feel some type of way towards this aunt. Even though she was nice, even though she always came bearing gifts, they always had something very negative to say. And the Lord told me this as he was showing me that vision. He said, just like I separated her for a reason, I've separated you for a reason. I truly believe that God is so very aware. He's so very in tune with our emotions, like, you know, concerning him having to isolate us and him separating us from people that we really love. Like they are near and dear to our heart, whether it is a parent, whether it is a child. And what God is saying is this year, as you move forward, listen to me. This year, as you move forward, the Lord is saying, tell them, I'm about to show them why I've separated them. I'm about to give them a clear understanding of why I had to separate them and why they should not grieve anymore. Somebody say, grieve no more. Everyone on here, to a certain degree, you have grieved being separated from someone, whether it is old friends, whether it is family members. You have grieved them because you really love them. And but here's the thing: what's in your heart is not in their heart. Huh. I'm gonna say that again. The thing about it is, what's in your heart is not it's not in their heart. It ain't in them. You love from a pure place. They don't. You love from a pure place. They don't. I don't talk about, the me grieving like the relationship with my mom, me grieving like wanting to have a close relationship with my sister, with my nephew. I don't grieve it. Y'all barely ever hear me talk about it. Y'all barely ever hear me talk about it. But it's an area where the enemy has taunted me for so long. Like my mom will literally pass by my house to go to my sister's house, but she rarely ever wants to come to my house. She does it all the time. I live in between, her house and my sister's house. She'll pass my house every single time. And I used to grieve it, especially, in those days where you get a little bit lonely, especially on those days where you feel you want a little bit of love from the people that you love. The Lord says, tell them I'm giving them understanding. I am giving them understanding as to why I had to separate them. Tell them, grieve no more. It became apparent as God was like dealing with me. I was just quiet. I was talking to my aunt. God knows that was a heart's desire to see my aunt, to take a picture with her. It was a heart's desire. This is the woman that raised me. It was a heart's desire. It meant so much to me. But it became apparent as God was dealing with me concerning that, it was apparent that I had to be separated. And it's like, as I was leaving, first of all, when my aunt left, I left. I'm going to just be real. When my aunt said I got to go, I left. Listen, I couldn't get out of there fast enough, because it's like the longer and longer I was staying, it's like the enemy was he was just bouncing off of people. My sister, my mom, my sister's best friend. I was like, what gives? And I realized that the enemy was playing on the same heartstrings that he's played on before. But it's like I left there with a fresh perspective. And I said, Lord, I'm not grieving them anymore. The fact that that the enemy spoke through my mom of her wanting to be a dictator when she's able to, who says that? Who says that? Who says that? My sister trying to make it seem like even down to the gifts. I couldn't afford my mom a gift this year. I need to say, I couldn't afford, I was going to get her a card and God said no. I could not afford her a gift. I've been giving to her all year, I've been giving as God leads me to give, but I could not afford it. And I felt a little bit bad at first. And it's like, as we're sitting there, my sister has this big old bag of gifts. And you could tell she was, listen, the devil was delighted. She was gloating. She was gloating. She was gloating. She was gloating. Not in a nice way, but in a I'm better than you way. She was gloating. To even trying to make it seem like she was closer to my aunt than I am. And I'm just like, it's not a competition. It's not even a competition. Throwing her birthday party that I didn't know about it, wasn't invited. You name it. And at first, my feelings were a little bit hurt. At first, I felt a little bit less than. God says, I need to say that. I felt like I was getting whooped up on in that house. But then as God showed me that vision of my aunt, and he said, I separated you so you could grow. I separated you so that you could surpass them. And then he said, as I was driving, he said, have you not already surpassed where they are? And I knew that in that moment, God was saying, don't believe the facade. Don't believe the facade. Don't believe the facade. And I think that that's what a lot of us go through as God separates us. We may have moments where we're around the people that God has isolated us from, where they try to make you feel bad for your absence. But the truth of the matter is that, if you stayed, in the same place, you would be exactly where they are, which in a lot of cases, they're still bound to things that God has freed you from. They're still bound to poverty, still bound to fear, still bound to doubt. They are still bound to it. And it's like in that moment, I realized, I said, Lord, I'm not grieving anymore. I'm the black sheep and I'm happy to be the black sheep. Some of y'all ought to be happy that you're not one of them. Some of y'all ought to be happy that God separated you. And I realized it's like in that moment, like driving back home, I realized, I said, God, I was not a happy kid in my mom's house. I was very happy with my aunt, but I was not a happy kid, being controlled, being beat, being verbally abused. My mama and my sister ganging up on me. Even if my mama know my sister wrong, like I was not a happy kid. And I think for a lot of us, like when you really like dig deep at like why God has separated you from certain people, like honestly and truly, a lot of the people that he separates you from, they are not good to you. Not in the way that you're good to them. I'm going to say that again. They're not good to you the same way that you would be good to them, whether they're not good to you by the things that they say, whether it's verbal abuse, whether it's little petty comments that they make. We all have been there. The petty comments, whether it's the things that they do. But the Lord says, tell my children, I separated them for a reason. Grieve no more. Grieve no more. Man, driving back home, I felt like a load was lifted. Said, Lord, I really do. I just feel like at this point, I don't think I've ever said this. I never really ever wanted to move out of state because of them, my mom and my sister. I never ever really wanted to move out of state because of my mom and my sister. Never. But as I drove home, I just felt something lift. And I said, Lord, if you wanted to move me to New York City, I would go. Even though I don't like the congestion, if you wanted to move me to the Philippines, I would go. Blessings to you, Pastor Ron. I would go. The Lord says, I've separated you for a reason. It's not, and honestly, we would be so better off if we just understood it is not meant for us to be close to everyone. It's not meant. As bad as you may want to be close to some people, like you really got to start asking yourself, is that really in your best interest? Because when I really broke down today and everything that happened, I'm like, God, it ain't even in my best interest to be around definitely not my sister. It ain't in my best interest to be around my mama. I can tolerate short periods of time with her, but it's not in my best interest. And it's like I understood me going to that party. It was about the revelation. But God knew I needed to lay eyes on my aunt. It was a heart desire. I needed to see her. Don't ask me why. I just needed to see her, needed to lay eyes on her. It's not meant for you to be close to everybody that you love. Whew. Must say that again. It's not meant for you to be close to everyone that you love. God says, I need to say that again. It is not meant for you to be close to everyone that you love, even if they are a relative. Sometimes it just ain't meant. And I'm going to say this again. I've been saying this for like the past week. And it's just simply because the God that lives on the inside of you is not in them. The God that lives on the inside of you is not in them. The faith that lives on the inside of you is not in them. You're different. The peace that resides deep down in you, no matter what you're going through, it ain't in them. The dreams, the goals, the vision that you have that God has implanted on the inside of you, it ain't in them. And being around them, even though you want to be around them, being around them is detrimental to where God is taking you. It'll only pull you down. It'll only hinder you. Think about all the moments we all have been there, where we've gone over and beyond for someone that we know that they may love us, but our love is two different things. They got a toxic type of love. I got a mature Christian, Christ-like type of love, right? Think about it, going over and beyond, and then boom, the enemy turn around and use them. I said what I said. For some people, it is just not meant. It's just not meant. And today I finally accepted it. God has you separated for a reason. Grieve no more. God has you separated for a reason. Grieve no more. I'm going to say it again because somebody really needs this. They've been taking up too much of your time. You thinking about it, how to make it better. You bending over backwards. God has you separated for a reason. So grieve no more. I need somebody to type that in. Grieve no more. Grieve no more. The sooner you can grasp that concept of I can love you, but I don't have to be close to you. I can love you, but not be close to you. Like for real. When you really like understand that there are just some people where you really got to love them from afar. What happens when you love them from afar is you cut off the devil's access. Because I said, God, the enemy hasn't been able to use them, my sister or my mother, because I have not been around them. I haven't been around them. So I'm gonna say it again. The devil is not able to affect someone that you don't give access to. He's not able to attack you through someone if you don't give access to him. He's not able to slow you down with what God has you doing. And a lot of the times he slows you down through your emotions. You'll be emotional over something that somebody say to you and it hurts you because you really love them. Capone, enough. Right? But how can the devil get to you if you don't give them the access needed to get to you? Am I making sense? So like today was like very profound. It was very profound. I was happy to be at my mom's birthday party. And then I noticed like as soon as my aunt that raised me, I said, God, it's like as soon as she came, the devil just reared his ugly head. Just reared his ugly head. That's it. Grieve no more. God's about to give some of y'all understanding. And again, this was a sore area that honestly, when I was driving back home, God wanted me to do this broadcast, but it was such a raw area because sometimes the love that you care for some people, like when it affects you, it's a raw area. It's raw. It hurts. But the more and more I allowed God to just show me, I understood. It's good that you're different. You don't have to blend in. Be you. Be you. Bella, go sit up here. Come on. Now sit down. I pray that I'm making sense. Separated for a reason. In this season, man, everybody can't have access to you. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you say you love them. Everybody cannot have access to you in this season. If you're going to be productive, if you're going to advance in your kingdom assignment, everybody cannot have access. There will be some people that maybe they had access to you in the last season. In this season, they going to have to go. And it's simply because some people just are not willing to grow. Some people are comfortable living in their own dysfunction. Some people are comfortable, living in toxicity. They just are. And so that was what God wanted me to come on here and say. Grieve no more, man. I'm so grateful that I got the chance to go. Because had I not gone, I would not have saw my aunt. And that's really all I want. That was who I really wanted to see. Was my aunt that raised me. And so that was the revelation that God gave me. And it's like when you grasp it, it's like I just felt like, God, now I can go wherever you want me to go. Like now that like I get it, I get why you got me separated. Like, and I get it to a certain degree where I don't even really want to be around them anymore, God. Like, I'm free to go. I'm free. I'm free to fully receive what your assignment is. I'm fully free to receive whatever your next is for my life, even if you move me to another country. Like, I'm free to receive that. Facts, Jocelyn. Me too. Like, and it's been years since I just felt like I was free. The reason I never wanted to move anywhere else was because my mom and my sister. But hearing the, like, y'all can't even, like, I think God really kept my face straight in that place, because I really was looking crazy in my mind when my aunt said to my mother, "You act like you want to be a dictator to her. You act like you like this a dictatorship." And my mother, the enemy working through my mother, replies, "I am a dictator when allowed to be." And I'm just like, did anybody else in here catch this? Did anybody else in here catch how demonic that is? Oh man. All in all, it was a good day, y'all. After I got out my feelings, it was a good day. It was filled with revelation that I am so very grateful for. I don't know who this part or who this broadcast was for. Yeah, Pastor Ron. Like, and that's like when I remember like driving home, like as a kid, I hated my childhood living with my mom. Like, and I know hate is a strong word, but like that was how I felt. I did not have a good childhood for the years where I lived physically with my mother. It was not, it was controlling as could be. It was beyond dictatorship. It was toxic. It was dysfunctional. It was all of those things. It was abusive in every aspect, physical, emotionally, verbally. It was all of those things. All of them. But God also gave me understanding too of my sister and, my mom. They hang around each other because they enable the toxicity. They feed each other's demons. I said what I said. People don't be realizing, like, when you see two people that are toxic, that are dysfunctional at best, like when you see them like linked up, it's because whatever demon is in one is feeding the other. They are feeding off of each other. And that's just what it's been. And so, it's like in that moment, I didn't feel bad anymore. I ain't feel sad. I ain't feel like I had to compete with. I never have felt like I needed to compete with my sister. I'm in my own lane. What's yours is yours. What's mine is mine. And that's just a fact. But that's it. That's it, man. I pray that God brings you guys the understanding, because I know what it's like to be taunted. Like when God separates you from people that you really love them. You really want to be around them. You really want to be close to them. You really want like for a relationship to be restored. Some relationships don't need to be restored. I said what I said. Even if they are family, some relationships don't need to be restored, because it would be the same thing, not because of you, but because of them. They don't want to grow. They don't want to change. They don't want to do it God's way. It don't have nothing to do with you. And it's like today I realized that this ain't got nothing to do with me. What y'all are doing has nothing to do with me. This is how you're treating me has to do with your own insecurities. You feeling like you got to compete with me. That's on you. That's something that's in you. You feeling like you got to try to make me feel less than. That's something that's in you. That's in you. That is in you. Even my mom with the controlling you being that way, baby, that's on you. I respect you. I honor you because you're my mother, but I'm not going to be around that. And people really, I'm going to say this the way that I hear the Lord telling me to say it. People really irk me when they say, "Oh, it's family." "Oh, that's your mama." Oh, that. We are not making excuses for toxicity. We are not making excuses for people that willingly allow the enemy to use them in 2022. Baby, I don't care who you are. You got one time this year to show me that the devil is in you, and I'm cutting you off. I love you from afar. I will still pray for you, but you get no access. And I said what I said. That statement really irks. Oh, that's still your mama. Baby, no. That's all I can say is no. It will be a cold day in hell before I make an excuse to let the devil have access to me through someone else that's stuck in their ways. Even like God has just reminded me of so much. Like even like the gifts that like my sister bought my mom, they were just so demonic. Like I wanted to like leave. They were just so demonic, y'all. Yoga books. Yoga's demonic for people that don't understand that it's worship to a false god, right? My mother knows, like, I do not do yoga. Don't call me. Don't ask me about no yoga. I don't know. I don't do yoga. Don't practice it. Don't care to don't care, right? Because when you know better, you do better. Yoga books. It was like some type of manifestation book. It was so demonic, y'all. I didn't even feel. It was just so very demonic. Yoga book. Some type of it, law of attraction book. It was something similar to that. I was just like, Lord, please get me out of here. That's all I could think. I'm just waiting on the right time to get up out of here. And so it was just, it was a lot, y'all. It was a lot. Listen, Kaneem, I couldn't when my aunt left, oh, and my aunt she reminds me of me, because it's like when you feel like you gotta go, it's like the enemy working through them will try to delay you. Like my mom is like, "Do you want to take me to the store?" No, I don't want to take you to the store. I'm not going to the store. I'm going home. I'm not going to no store. I'm going home, lady. I got almost an hour drive. I'm going home. Same thing with my aunt. My aunt got almost like irritable, which I can be if someone is trying to delay me from doing what I need to do. Absolutely. My aunt was like, "Listen, I got to get up out of here." She said it just like that. I got to get up out of here. And she left. And a few minutes later, I jetted that door. I jetted the door right after her. But that was a little bit about my day. It's been a very enlightening day, but it's been a freeing day. And so I pray that you guys glean whatever you needed to glean from this. I pray that God gives you understanding if maybe you're separated from someone that you really love and you really want God to restore it, but every single time you go around and the devil just uses him. Like, I pray God gives you that same understanding that he gave me, so that you can be free this year. Free in your mind, free emotionally, like free physically, free to be who God has called you to be, and unapologetically. And it's like when I really thought back on it, it's like, Lord, you know, I'm not a boastful person. I don't brag, right? I don't brag. I don't do like none of that. But it's like at the end of the day, Father, like it's really nothing to compare. The glory that he's displayed on my life, like it far like surpasses where my sister could ever be. And although I want her to level up, it's no comparison. It's not, it is literally night and day. It's night and day. And so that was it. And that, again, that's not me boasting. It's not me being prideful, but it's just me understanding, like when God's presence is, when his glory is on your life, when his hand is on your life just is, it's going to look different than their life. And so that's it, y'all. That's it. This was what God wanted me to talk about on tonight, this evening, because it ain't night. Has this helped anyone? Has this helped anyone? Has this helped anyone? Hey, Capone, please do not walk on me. Please do not walk on me, sir. I'm so glad, Natasha. I'm so glad, man. It's like the chains broke today. The need to be validated, the need to be rejected. I mean, the even, rejection issues that stemmed from my mother. It's like it broke. As I left, it's like, God, I don't have to go back. I don't have to go back ever again, honestly. And that's not me being hateful or anything. It's just I don't desire it. I don't desire to be around that type of energy. I don't desire to be around it. Not at all. So that's it, y'all. I'm about to get off of here. My phone is about to. I'm so glad, Mrs. Edna. My phone is on like 10%. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. And I love y'all, man. I'm rooting for you. Listen, if you didn't watch the broadcast before this one, please go back and watch that one too. I actually listened to the replay first. One of the I could probably count on one hand how many times I actually listened to the broadcast. This was probably like number 3 that I've actually watched a replay, and it blessed me tremendously again the second time around. And so if you haven't watched that broadcast on your thinking too small, go back and watch that. But I love y'all, man. I am rooting for you guys, and